Welcome to Randroid's Dojo, session 1, live session. So, Miguel, you've had a week of the Dojo experience, but we haven't really sat down and paired together yet. So let's do that. This is what Dojos are all about.
I'm ready.
So, part of what I'm paying for here is developing a game idea that I had. You can watch some of my old streams, and I did start development on this with some outside help. And here's where I got. Let's take a look. This is called Pseudo Paradox. So I'll play here in the game window. We got a fully animated dummy here. Once he starts walking, he's always walking.
Yes.
Using the keyboard to walk around. I don't know if it supports controllers. Something we could test. It's got some basic lighting. It's got a basic room. Notice there's this little indent here on the wall. That's supposed to be the door. Yeah, so let me look around. So that's like a door. And I think there's one on every wall. Let me see. So the camera's following. I'm moving it around with the mouse. So let me do a full... As I, look towards, as I rotate in certain ways, it gets closer. I'll show you, how that works in a second. But the idea is it's dynamically moving in and out. You can actually see on the left side here, you can see the camera kind of moving. So that I don't get stuck staring at a wall or something. So when I try to get really close to the wall, it just pushes down and looks at my feet. So maybe not the ideal scenario, but it's better than getting stuck. So it's not too bad. But anyways, this is just a prototype, very early. One thing, let's see, are we actually in four-walled room? There's 4 walls here. Can I walk this way? It looks like I can't really walk this way. Okay, yeah, it's 4 walls. I added a 4th wall. Great. I can't jump. There is a ceiling. So I think we're good. We're in a 4-walled room.
It's beautiful.
We can walk around. For anyone who didn't watch any of the previous videos or anything, what we plan to do with this prototype is a little time travel game. So you're going to walk through a door, and you're going to be told that you've traveled through time, but you're in the same exact location. So you're in the same room, but a clock is going to change. So we just did a late night session of playing that new game, 12 minutes.
Yep, that was crazy.
Really cool time loop game.
Very interesting.
Something similar here. There's going to be some kind of clock. We have to have some kind of clock that lets you know you've traveled to a different time. Probably a random time at first. I don't know. We haven't really figured it out. But let's say it's all in one day, back and forward, out a couple hours at a time, every time you walk through the door. So that's the first feature we really want to add, is be able to show that you're going through time. So when you go through the door, you reset your position somewhere in the room, starting location, and the clock changes to let you know that you're in a different time. You say, okay, but what's the point of that? That doesn't sound fun. Well, it should be fun. It should be one more feature away from seeing if it's fun or not. And that feature is being able to run into yourself from the past.
Yes.
So it's a little hard to explain, but let's say it's midnight right now. I walk through the door, and now it's 2 a.m. I do a little circle. I walk through the door again, and it's 1:59 a.m. If I stay here for 1 minute, let's say I go in this corner, and I stay here for 1 minute, I should see a guy that looks exactly like me spawn when the clock hits 2 a.m. And that guy should do a circle in the room. Why? Because that's me from a previous loop, and I did a circle in the room.
Yes.
So boom, you're going to start seeing different variants. I just happen to be wearing my Loki shirt today, by the way. It's perfect. Variants of yourself, right? Okay, that's it. That's feature 2. Okay, is that fun? Just being able to walk to the door and randomly happen upon yourself from a past instance? Maybe. But that alone requires that we log your position in the room for every second of the day. So if there's 24 hours in the day, and let's just say, I don't know, there can only be one of you. I don't know how many there can be at a time. I guess 2 of you, but one past self, right? I don't know. Maybe if you go back to 2 a.m. twice, it overwrites the first one. It gets complicated. Part of why I want to do this in a game, play around with it, and instead of trying to hard code all the rules up ahead, I did a kind of a design doc, but I want to just play around with it because maybe I want, if I go to 2 a.m. twice, maybe I want the second time you go there to overwrite the first time.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't. Maybe I want 2 guys to spawn at the same spot, but like get pushed apart. Now you have 2 guys there, and then 3, and then 4. Maybe, I don't know. We'll play around with that, right? But one thing we know we will need for sure is tracking where at least one variant of yourself was at that previous time.
Yeah.
So that means code. There's going to be some kind of database that logs your trips in space. Space as in locations in the room. Quantum space, yes. No, time and space, really. Okay, so hopefully you guys are sold on the idea. At least the prototype to see if it's fun. We're not building a full game yet. Maybe it sucks. Maybe we'll abandon it after those first 2 features.
Oh, yeah.
But let's dive in, okay? But first I want to talk just a little bit about how this currently works. You can watch the past videos. All of that was live streamed. But just a little recap for myself, too, because a lot of this was new to me the first time because I hadn't worked in Unity in years. And I haven't worked in this demo, this prototype, in a couple months. So I already forgot. So let's look at it. What do we have here? So the guy I worked with on this helped me set up my project pretty nicely. He actually worked for a professional game development place, and this is like the format he likes to use, where he puts his UI in a certain place, geometry, effects, audio. He organizes it. Remember I was telling you need to work at your organization when you're doing those example projects and you're naming things new project, new project. If you ever get into that, you know you're doing something wrong, right?
Yeah.
So this already has some built-in organization to it. This isn't necessarily something you're going to get off a Unity tutorial. This came straight from someone who actually works in the industry and is like, this is a good format to have your project in. So this is good to work off of. We can always hire that guy back and get, have him help us out a bit more if we ever get stuck. But for now, we have a basic setup here. So we set up our camera. This is the main camera that we see moving around. I'm trying to move it. Why isn't it moving? Do I have to right click?
It's locked. Great.
Oh, it is locked. Good call. I don't really want to move it anyways. So we have a camera. On the camera, it has a Cinemachine brain. So I think I added this myself. It's got a third-person camera called a live camera on it. So that's this guy down here. Maybe this should be somewhere else now that I see it. It should probably not be here, should it? Maybe it should be under core. Boom. Already cleaning up the project. One thing you learn about me, clean up as you go.
No.
Boy Scout rule. You know the Boy Scout rule?
No.
Leave the campground cleaner than you found it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is our campground. So, boom. Save. Already made it better. Constantly iterating. But anyways, so this camera is very complex. Cinemachine brain. This is the thing that knows how to move the camera in and out, to not hit walls. I don't know exactly how it works. It's very complicated. It also uses universal additional camera data. I don't know what this is. Can we open this? Edit script. All right, you're gonna see your first bit of code. We'll open it up in. I feel like my Visual Studio is probably out of date, but let's do it anyways. Visual Studio Code is nice for like web development and scripts and stuff. It's small. A lot of people use it actually, but I prefer a more full-fledged, full-featured, integrated development environment. That's what these are called, IDEs, instead of just like a notepad. Or Visual Studio Code has plugins and script, like things that help you write code, just like this thing does. But this goes even farther. Visual Studio Code is something Microsoft builds and supports. Yeah, I know we have an update. I'll do that later. To help you manage your project's code and run it and test it and all that stuff. So anyways, have you ever seen code like this? Do you know what kind of code this is?
Not that long. That's really long.
Yeah, so I didn't write any of this. This already existed. But let's, as a first step, I know we're just playing around right now, but as a first step into code, let's just break apart what's in this file. We don't have to fully understand it, but I just want to give you a little insight. So this is called Universal Additional Camera Data .cs. Do you know what the CS stands for?
No.
C#.
Oh, well,
so C#.
there it is.
C#, as I think you know, is a programming language, right? It's like a cousin of C++ or object-oriented, or sorry, Objective-C, or it's a competitor of like Java. It's from Microsoft, right? First thing you'll notice is that this using command, these using system.collection generic, these are imports. These are declaring dependencies, other code. So system is actually another library of code that you can use, and I'll show you where it's used. But if I get rid of one of these, it should actually break the code because something in here requires the system.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just start importing things when you start. You import them as you need them, right?
Yeah.
So because we're running our actual project in Unity, it's not as easy to show you like, here's how you run the code, like from Visual Studio Code, or Visual Studio, sorry. But if I save this, we should get an error when we try to run the game in Unity. So there's like nothing here telling me that this thing's failing to compile, right? But there really should be. That's one of the things IDEs help you with, is knowing, they help you with importing the proper dependencies and stuff. But yeah, it's not telling me there's any problems. So let's go back to our Unity and see it's importing the new code or whatever, compiling the C# scripts. So compiling just means it's converting the code to something machine readable.
Yeah.
Machine doesn't read, English, or doesn't even read C#. It reads like binary, or sometimes it's interpretive layer. We'll talk about it more, but we got an error here. It says warning, the package cache was invalidated and rebuilt because the following immutable assets were unexpectedly altered. So it's just saying, hey, your code changed, and we refreshed it, but it's just a warning. Let's actually try to run it and see if we get a bug, like a crash or something. Okay, so somehow it works. 1 second, my stream started playing. Did that happen? Alright. That's weird. Let's try to break it. Let's really try to break it. Let's get rid of... Oh, it came back. I think it... When I saved it, what happened? Why did it come back? That was weird. So for some reason, when it recompiles here, it fixes the import. So I don't like things in code that look like magic, especially when you're a new dev. Yeah, it just fixes it, or it just goes back to the old cache. I don't know exactly what's happening. So let's see, is it cached? So if I type a new comment here, right? I say, hello, does this get deleted? So I want to see, is it just restoring an old version of the file, or is it automatically fixing the import? What I'm trying to do is show you, again, get rid of some of the magic in the coding side of this and show you how it actually is functioning. Right now, it's not clear to me what is happening in this scenario. So I think it's probably just adding the import automatically. A little weird. Yeah, because it doesn't get rid of this. So
try to delete like a public thing.
What's that?
Maybe try to delete like a public statement, one of those like.
Get rid of an actual method. Yeah, let's do that too. I just want to see one last time. Now that I've changed the comments and removed the import, let's see what happens.
Did it again?
Yeah, I think it's just restoring, or yeah, it's just fixing the import. Oh no, see, it's gone. My comment is gone. So for whatever reason, this file keeps getting restored from cache. I don't know what's going on there. So maybe it's a special magic file. I don't like magic. We'll figure it out later. Let's move on and come back to that. I want to break down probably an easier script than that one, because I don't actually know what that one's doing. All right, there's no UI. UI, you know what UI is? It's a basic question, but do you know what UI is?
I've always heard of it. Never understood it.
So it stands for user interface.
Oh, I knew that.
So anything that you can like click on or read or interact with like from as a user. Technically, I guess you could say like the movement is kind of a way of interfacing with it. But yeah, that's UI. We don't have anything here, so we don't have any buttons, we don't have any menus, we don't have any text in the screen, but that's it, we'll put it here. Geometry. So you may remember we were talking about assets.
Yeah.
So geometry is the basic
Building
meshes or whatever. In this case, we have props. So the door frame is considered, we're calling it a prop. We just made these names up, me and that other guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a nice way to organize stuff. We have environment stuff. So walls we're calling environments, and floors we're calling environments, ceilings. All of these are just really basic meshes, mesh renderers with a collider so you can bump against it. Basic shader on it. Nothing fancy. All prototype stuff. So you should know how this stuff works basically. It has a position in 3D space, so each of these walls can be moved. So if I find this particular wall, or this is a roof, right? I can boom. You probably won't really see it, but where is this in the game?
To the right. Oh,
There it is. Boom. Now he can escape to the ceiling, right? So you know how that stuff works. I'll put it back. Control Z. All right. So that's geometry. Though at some point maybe I'll buildings or some other stuff that you'll put in your environments. For now, it's empty. All right. Effects. We don't have any effects. We don't have an audio. We have a little lighting. It's just a point light. That's if I didn't have this. So if I turn this off. Now you're in complete darkness. Still moving around, you can see here, but it's dark now. So turn the light back on. Cool. Actor. So guess what actor is?
The dude.
The dude. So he's got a character controller. And he's actually got a script on him. Third person movement script.
Wow.
So this script takes a controller, which is this controller here. If I turn that off, what do we see?
Probably won't move.
So see how there was like what is that shape? Not oval, but like elongated, like circular is gone now, right?
Yes.
And I turn it back on. Where'd it go?
Oh, he's dead.
Where'd it go?
Oh.
I don't know where. Oh, see, you can kind of see it now, right?
Yeah, yep.
So that's the controller, that little shape around him. It's got a radius on it. I can make it bigger, make this dude fat. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's the
Bumps
controller.
into everything.
And how does that, see? Completely glitches out, right?
Yeah.
So we'll stop this. Anything I do while in game mode shouldn't get saved. See how it goes right back. Okay, here's a script that we might be able to actually make sense of. So it takes a controller, which we just talked about. It also takes a camera, which we kind of talked about in the beginning. And it takes an animator. Let's look at the animator. So an animator, that's what's making him move around, right? So an animator takes an avatar. Whoa, 3D paint. I don't know why that opened up in 3D paint. That's kind of cool. Let's see if we can find, where's this file? I think this is just a pack we downloaded. It gives this like mannequin looking dude. I think that's probably what that is.
Unity Asset Store?
Yeah, something from the asset store. Anyways, we'll get deeper in animations and stuff later. Okay, so that's the stuff that's in the game. Let's look at the script on the actor. See if that one's a little easier to parse. Here we go. So open.
Edit script. Oh yeah.
Maybe why the edit wasn't working is because we were playing the game. Maybe when the games are running and you make a change, it doesn't work. Like it doesn't actually let you do that. Let's test that theory. So again, removing an import, recompiling. No, because remember I did hit play after. Yeah. So no, that wasn't it. I don't know what that. Something tells me this is not.
I wrote that one time.
What's that?
I wrote like the flip horizontal and vertical for my car.
Oh yeah, so you've seen some of this code.
Yes.
Something very similar, right? When you were doing
A lot
your
of
stuff.
it actually, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this one's much easier to read, right? Like a lot less going on. I'm still just trying to figure out how this thing reads the code.
You got an error.
Finally. Great. That's what I was looking for. Should have happened with the first time I moved to import. Okay. So what are the kind of errors? It says that for this file, the namespace monobehavior could not be found. Are you missing a using directive? Yes, we are. Same thing with all these.
Yeah.
So it recognizes that we didn't import something properly. So I could just go to the file here. I really wish it would show me the error in the IDE. That's so annoying. All right. There's got to be a better way to set up your dev environment to connect. That's the thing about Unity. If you've only ever done game development through Unity stuff, it's going to give you a weird understanding of how code works. So I do want to do some more basic coding with you, where we write like maybe a command line tool, like a calculator, something very basic, just so you understand a bit how code works. Because there's a bit of a magic box thing happening here, where like this is not telling me that there's any errors. Why? I really hate that. Yeah. So how would I write this code if I don't know what I need? Like, how would I know I need Unity Engine here? What are we using Unity Engine for? I could tell you, right? I bet you start and update are functions from the engine.
In my lesson thing, the guy deleted everything above Unity Engine for what we used. I don't know why, but he just said we don't need it.
So let's try to figure out what each of these is for. Okay, so system.collections. Do you know what a collection is in coding?
Probably. I don't know.
So a collection is a way of storing data. So sometimes you'll see things called arrays, or sets, or lists, and it's like there's more advanced ones, and like there's also something being pulled from here called generic. So I don't know exactly. Can we look at this code? See, I really hate this. This is not showing us where this code's coming. Like I'm not able to look at this actual code. So there's got to be a better way to set this up.
If you try deleting the top three, right, and try running it, see if there's error.
Well, I know it's definitely using math. Like I can show you. Let's find out where it's using math, right? Magnitude? No, that's coming out from direction. Do you see a speed call? Where?
Yeah, right there in the
float.
Up one.
Direction magnitude.
Normalize speed, time delta time.
Speed. Do a search. So that's the float.
37th line.
Thank you. 37.
Time delta time.
Time delta time. So that's coming from time. Move direction as this. I don't know where it's actually using math. Cam.Eulers. Here it is. Rad 2 degrees.
Oh.
So math F at least. I think.
Well, those are a public speed thing.
These math things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's interesting is it also has things like input.getAccessRaw. This must be coming from Unity. These are Unity input, but is it from this one? Like, what if I get rid of that one? Recompiling.
Left or right? Ooh, error.
Clear this. Let's see. How do we clear? Clear unplug. Okay, let's get back to working condition.
Ooh.
Save all. Okay, we're back to working.
Mhm.
So I bet mono behavior also comes from Unity Engine, so probably wouldn't be able to get rid of Unity Engine. I really wish it would let me look at this code. It's so frustrating. There's got to be a way to set it up so that I can go to this code. Wait, hold on. No. Let's see. Quick actions, refactors, peak definition. Nope. Go to implementation.
There definitely was a way.
So you cannot navigate a symbol under the caret. What? Go to definition. Yeah, it's like it hasn't set up. Where's the project? Maybe we need to open up the full project. That's probably the project problem here. There we go. Okay, so let's go to where this file is, where our project is saved. Where did I save my work? I think
Organization.
Yeah, we just switched over to my PC. This is not the one you've been working off of all week. But yeah, I think I put it under here. Program file. You know what we'll do? We'll go and see file, save as. See where this is saved. Drive. So it's under development. Okay. Drive development. Cool. Boom, there it is. Okay. So yeah, I'm so rusty in Unity and all this. Okay, this is gonna be awesome. So now you can actually see the project files. So now it sees these assets, it sees the scripts, some shader stuff. Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, it looks like these are not used. You were totally right.
What did I say?
Miguel was right. Miguel was right. So when they grade out, they'll give you a little suggestion here. It says remove unnecessary things. So these are not used. You were totally right. Preview images. Fix all occurrences in this document. So you want to use the tool as much as you can to fix things. So boom, you were totally right. I don't know why that was there by default. Probably when you create a new script, it adds it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in case you need it.
And that's why the guy told you to delete it. So you're right. And that means these math things are actually static functions. So notice how this is capitalized, math F.
Yeah.
That's how it knows how to find it statically. So it's part of Unity Engine actually. So if we didn't have Unity Engine, then it wouldn't be able to find it. So let's get rid of Unity Engine. There we go. We got no more magic. So now it's like I don't know what mono behavior is, and so we should be able to see the potential fix for this is to add a using Unity Engine.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
That's okay. So now now everyone understands how this code is actually using these dependencies, right? Cool. We figured it out. No more magic. Great. That was really frustrating me. If you want, now you can actually look at this code, or at least its interface. So an interface tells you what its public interfaces are, like how you might use it. Someone else wrote this code, and you don't need to know how it works exactly, but you need to know what it can do. So like, I'm using this. Let's say I want to have, I want to print out some text to the console, right? I might use system.console and .log, right? But maybe I want to write my own logger, and so then I go to Randroid.logger instead, and that one, it sends an email to Miguel every time instead of putting it in the console, right? So, but both of those would have a .log function. So you could go to like an app store or something and look up loggers that do different things. One sends emails, one sends a tweet, whatever, and they might all have similar functions in their interface, like logging. Or in this case, mono behavior is a little complicated, but it has to do with C# being able to run on non-Windows devices and stuff. But anyways, they're declaring a bunch of functions here. We don't need to know about all this right now. Let's see, something that might be good to go over.
Something I never understood.
Yeah.
What is the difference between a public and a private thing?
Perfect. So, let's take an example here. Transform, maybe? We'll go into transform. Okay, so notice I only see public functions here. So this is just showing me the interface. Again, I can call local position, I can call right, up, right. These are all different functions I can call.
Yeah.
But inside of these, if they show us the code that actually does this instead of just the interface, they don't seem to do that. These are more like properties. You're just getting and setting values. But like, what's one that actually probably does something like does some logic. Let's see if we can go into these. Yeah, so we can't go into the definition. So this code is not, how it actually works is not visible to us. So we just know what it takes. It takes 3 floats and it returns nothing. That's what void means, right? This one takes 1 vector and returns a vector, right? That's all we know is the interface. If we don't know how it does its job. So part of what it does is it might have all of its code inside this function called rotate around local or rotate around whatever, or it might call other functions like sub-functions that help it do its job that are private. You never need to make those like details public. You only need, when you're publishing your library, you only need this high level function that tells you I need a vector and a float and I'll return you nothing.
Oh, okay.
I will show you how to rotate around. I'll do all the logic for you. Just give me these 2 things. And what if you go, oh, but I don't have an axis, or I don't have a vector 3 axis and a float angle, right? Okay, well, maybe you have a point axis and angle. And then I can rotate you around. So you're offering different ways to do some feature for them, right? Like in this case, rotate around using different values. And so obviously the logic to rotate based on these 3 values is probably different than these 2 values. But I don't need to know all that logic, right? You can do it for me. Use private functions or whatever you need to do to figure it out. That's fine. I don't need to know. I'm just using your library, right? So when you're writing your own code, you'll probably end up doing something very similar where maybe you want 2 of your classes to talk to each other, and you'll have some public interface that they can share like how they work. But you're also going to have a lot of private data and functions that they don't need to know about. And that will help keep it clean, right? Because you don't want to expose details that no one needs to know about. It just makes things really hard to read and understand later. Let's talk about these 2 functions. So start and updates are coming from mono behavior. So we are creating a class, so it's like a container here called third person movement that extends mono behavior or implements mono behavior, right? In this case, extends. What does that mean? Well, mono behavior has a function called start and update. If I look here, it should be, maybe I'm crazy. Start. Where's start? Where's start? Let me go back. Where's this coming from? It's not overriding. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe someone, how do they know to call start? Start is called before the first frame update. Update is called, so this is being called by Unity. It has to have these 2 functions. If it didn't have them, does it fail?
The start one is as soon as you click play, it starts, and then the update is as soon as you see something, it starts, right? Like a frame.
Yeah, the life cycle of it is slightly like later or whatever, but it actually repeats. So there's a game loop. So there's something called a frame, like a visual frame, like what you actually see that fits 60 FPS, 60 frames per second. So every single frame you want to move or rotate slightly. Yeah. That's what you would use update for. There's also variations of update, like some places where you would update animations is different than updating lighting or something. There's different updates, but just know that this is the basic update function. Okay, so I got rid of that start. Usually what would happen is something would tell you that you need that start function. Like there would be an interface or something that you're subscribing to that tells you you must have a start. I didn't see that inside of mono behavior, so I don't know why we need start. We're not even doing anything in it. So I don't think there's anything forcing us to have start. Unity message. So yeah, a little unclear there how Unity knows to call update. Let's check. Is there anything on this? Yeah, see there's nothing here exposes update. I guess any script must have those. Not must, but if it has those, then Unity will call them. Okay. Again, a little magic from Unity. Alright, well let's look at what it's doing every update. So again, this is the movement class for third person movement. Okay, so obviously it's third person, it's behind, you can actually see yourself. It's like me looking at you in third person, not you looking out first person. So how do they do that in a video game? How do they do that with a camera, right? So let's just go through here. They're declaring 3 variables. One is called horizontal, vertical, and direction. So these can change throughout the life cycle or whatever. They first are being set to input.getAxis horizontal. So this is just getting the current horizontal rotation, right, of the camera, right, or of the input. So I guess not the camera, but the mouse. So like me moving my mouse is going to change this value every update. Same thing with vertical. If I move up or down, this vertical number should change.
Yeah.
So one thing we can do is try to console this out so I can figure out what the console is. Probably system.console. Yeah, system.console.out. Let's see, horizontal. So I'm just going to say, log out the horizontal flag. So this is going to log. I don't think that worked. It's not the right function. I think Unity probably has its own console. Let's look it up. Google to the rescue.
Wasn't one of the things you deleted System Console?
Might have been, yeah. Debug log. Debug.log. Where is it? Log. Log object message object. Okay, so let's try that. Debug.log. Capital L. Because it's C#. And it doesn't like this, so I can try doing it like this instead. Horizontal. Okay, so I'm saying take this string and then also add in the variable value, right? So let's see this, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So I just hit Control D to duplicate the line. Oops. I'm on a different computer. Shortcuts are weird. I'm trying to move this file down. Or not file, but line. So there's a shortcut to do that. I don't know what it is on this setup, and I'm going to just keep trying until I figure it out, because it's going to annoy me if I don't have my shortcuts. Ugh. How do you do it? Okay, we're going to do this. I'm so rusty in Visual Studio. Visual Studio, move line down, shortcut. Alt down, arrow. Alt down. Boom. Okay. So this one's going to be vertical. Okay. Save. Now the console's down here. This is where it's going to output the log. So every single frame, it's supposed to tell us our new horizontal and vertical, but it's always 0. Why? Why is it always 0? Why, oh why? Okay, so I guess that's just like the default horizontal vertical axis. It's just trying to get the axis that we're on, because maybe
Yeah.
our game is tilted or something.
Mhm.
So those are, I guess, always just 0. Okay, fine. So then it's direction we want to output. This is what's probably changing. Let's see. It's normalizing. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that changes either. Let's find out. Okay, direction. See if we move. Does the direction change? No. That's a little weird. Okay, so all same direction. Where are we actually doing any changes? So now it says direction.magnitude if it's greater than 0.1f. Do some math. So there's a lot of math involved in games, graphics, right? So if you're ever taking calculus, this is using a tan 2. So this is a trig, right? They're using triangles to figure out certain line angles and stuff. So this is your target angle. So it's like basically saying based on where the cursor is moved, where, the mouse is moved, try to draw a line to where you want the camera to go. This is just stuff you have to just know or look up. Okay, and then it's also doing a smooth damp angle. So instead of just directly immediately going to your new angle that's changed from the previous frame, it damps it. So it basically smooths out the angle as it goes, so it's not jerky. And then transform.rotation. Okay, so they're actually doing a rotation here based on this new angle. Okay, does this change each time? Save. It should save automatically. I can find out how to do that.
So the teacher dude didn't save either. He had to go back every time. So funny.
There's a way to auto save. I'll turn it on. It's so annoying. All right, this is not printing. What did I do wrong? Let me see. Did I need to move? Okay, I moved. So maybe it's only when you move. It is 3D movement, so I guess that makes sense. Okay. But yeah, so this is the calculation of the movement. So let's see what happens if I, by the way, it's not mouse, it's keyboard. So this is using the direction that I press on the keyboard. So if I go right, then that's 116. If I go right, okay, you can see it down here. This keeps changing. 228. So 2229, 289. So you remember, in Fortnite, when you're telling your buddies that you see a guy in the distance, and there's that like compass, and you go, yeah, he's at 289, 289. So that's what this is. There's like a 360 compass. So let's see if we can get to 360. So I just press down and right, and I got to 350, 335. Let me go down and left. So let me just go straight down. It's 16, 20. Let me go left. 100, and we go up. It's 196, 200, right, 300. So basically 0 is starting, almost got to 0, somewhere over here. So if we look this up, Unity angle, what is it called? 360 degrees. What's it called? Angles. I don't know. You get this the vector angle, finding angle between two objects. How do you get this? Here we go. This is exactly what I was looking for. So this says that 0 is up, and then it goes 90, 180, 270. I don't think that's actually true. I think for Unity, it starts probably with, what is it, 0 on the right. Let's see what this guy says here. Find degrees, 0, 0, minus 36. In Unity, what angle is 180? So this will walk you through the math, if you ever want to see the math behind it.
It's a lot of math.
Yeah, it's all trig.
You taken that?
I took some trig a long time ago. Anyways, just know this is the kind of road you'd want to go down if you really want to understand how this stuff works. But yeah, I can't phrase the question the way I'm trying to phrase it. But basically, I'm trying to figure out like which direction is 0, which direction is 180. I think 0 is to the right in Unity, but I could be totally wrong on that. Anyways, okay. So, what does this code seem to be doing to you? What do you think this is doing? It's calling update. It's finding your current direction of your avatar, right? And then if its magnitude is greater than 0.1f, so basically you have to be moving. Yeah. If you've stopped moving, or the magnitude of the direction, though. I think what it's saying is if you're already going in the direction you're facing, then you don't need to change. I don't know. So it's not clear to me exactly what it's trying to say here. I get why it's checking that there's a magnitude, because it doesn't want to keep moving you if you've already moved, I guess. Like if I've let up on the direction, it should be 0. So I think what's happening is when I'm pressing the keys, it's changing the horizontal or vertical. I don't know why. I guess it didn't show this because I wasn't pressing the keys. So I try this one more time. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm going on a tangent here. No pun intended. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like when things don't make sense. You know, I just want to dive in, but it's not that important. But let's see if my theory is correct here. So when I press right, notice the horizontal is now 1. When I press left, it's -1. When I press up, vertical is 1. When I press down, vertical is -1. Okay. So yeah, if it's less than if the magnitude, so what is the magnitude in these cases? So let's do this. Dot magnitude. Let's find a setting to autosave. Page help. What do you think it is? Edit. Project. Where is it? Project. Should be some kind of preferences.
I've seen preferences before.
Where is it on Windows? autosave. Go to the settings page, go to code preferences settings, so that's on Mac. File preferences settings on Windows. I didn't see preferences. Am I blind? Maybe it's because I didn't update.
Account settings, maybe?
I don't think it'd be account settings. Yeah.
No.
It turns out I have to buy or I have to install a plugin to do autosave. Is there a Visual Studio automatic save configuration setting? In VS29, the autosave file extension seems to work as expected. It saves individual files on Las Vegas. Yeah, you might need a plugin for it. That's so dumb. Okay, we're gonna get this plugin. Another tangent. How to install plugins in Visual Studio Code. I don't really want this here. Not Visual Studio Code. I keep saying Visual Studio Code. Oh, I have to close it. Okay. I don't want to edit the script. That was the mistake last time. I want to open the project. Let's see if this works. Horizontals. Okay, I'm not going to save. See if it auto-save. I'm have to enable the plugin or if it just works. Okay, pressing left, magnitude 1. Yeah, so I guess basically it doesn't matter what direction I'm pressing, the magnitude is just saying you are pressing a button. If I press up and down at the same time, magnitude is 0. It won't do anything because they cancel each other out. That's basically what it's checking. So if you're pressing the same left and right, there's going to be no magnitude. They're going to cancel each other out. Left and right cancels out. Okay, that's what it means by magnitude. Okay, fine. Any other questions about this code here? So it does some fancy math, rotates you, and then it sets your move direction. And then it calls the controller to actually move you at a set speed. That speed we put here in this float. Because we made this public, I believe we can adjust it from Unity. See this? Boom. Speed 12. So I can actually change this here. The question is, if I change it here, does it change it in this the source code? Let's run this.
It's gonna go zooming.
Okay. Double the speed. Alright, now the question is, did that change here? Doesn't look like it auto reloads. If it did save, it didn't auto reload. Okay, it doesn't change. So this exposes this to the Unity editor, and you can change the Unity editor. And the Unity editor, well, maybe it's because I didn't save. Save. I must exit before I save. File, save. Maybe that will do it. Reopen it. Nah.
No, no, no. Horizontals.
So change this one to 14.
Oh, Lord.
Does it autosave?
You're crazy, man.
Didn't update there. Let's hit save. Maybe because I overwrote it now it doesn't change. Seems a little weird to me. Run it. Does it recompile maybe? Nope. Go back here. Let's put them both back to 6. Save. I think you can reset. Well, I don't want to reset because then I'll lose the camera and animator too. I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to put it back to 6. Save. I'm just really getting familiar with how the Unity engine editor connects to the code. It's going to be important later on. Yeah, it doesn't seem to affect each other. But whatever. We know that this is being exposed by this script. If I got rid of this, or if I made it, let's say, private, that's got to affect this. Or maybe not. Maybe I have to re-add it before it changes. Let's find out. Okay, it's gone. Perfect.
It stays. Cool. It keeps it.
So we know what that does now, right? We know that these public values, and look at these ones, character controller, transform, animator. These 3 components are these things.
So public shows, private doesn't show.
Makes sense. So any private stuff here? No real.
Never.
Or there's this turn smooth velocity that doesn't say private or public.
It's float.
So I think it defaults to private in C#. Because it's not there. Turn smooth. And it's not even set by default. It's just 0. It's just where the default value is. Because it's a float, it's 0.0f for float. A float just means a number that has a decimal to it.
Okay.
There's big decimal, which has even more decimal places. I forget how many decimal places float supports, but just know that floating point numbers in computers is a little hard because it can only go to so many decimal points before it starts rounding. Okay, so we basically understand what this does, right? And so it takes the controller, the transform, the animator, and then it changes things on that. So it changes the controller by moving it. It changes the animator by saying that it's moving forward and what direction it's moving. It changes so in this case, forward is just a variable we set on the animator to make him look like he's walking. You'll notice that he never stops walking.
No.
That's that is a bug, and that's something that we probably would want to change here. In fact, I bet I can change it by doing this. Else, move direction. So then else.
So when he stops.
Oh, what do you think it should be?
Genius.
What do you think the float should be set to when he's not moving?
0.
0.0.
0.0. Yes.
So that.
Yes.
And I bet you we just solved the bug. Let's test. Moving?
Oh, yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, get this guy a Microsoft job. Get him
Save.
out. Oh, my.
Okay.
This is beautiful.
And let's connect the dots here. So let's get rid of these logs. We don't need these anymore.
Can't believe, I thought that was going to be hard. That was kind of, not too hard.
Yeah, I was actually going to make that as, one of your first tasks to fix, and then we just naturally came across it. Okay. the save thing, auto save thing didn't work, which bugs me. But we'll figure that out later. Cool. So we made, hey, Boy Scout rule.
Yeah.
I know we spent 2 hours on that, but I think we learned a few things about how these things connect, right? And we
Yeah.
also figured out the that
Problem.
weird bug. So, but I want to show you that variable, the one that was forward as a string. Like that's not magic either. That's using the animator. So we tried to open this earlier and we couldn't really understand it, right? I think what we need, if I remember correctly, is there's a view. Here it is, scene, animator. There's a view for animations. So this shows you the complex blend tree that's being used. Notice it has this thing called forward. When I move this, this is super complicated. I'd watch the past video I did with that one engineer I told you about.
Yeah.
He walked me through a lot of this. This is how their animations work in Unity. It's changed many times over the years. I think this is the latest way of doing it. But yeah, so there's 2 types of variables. These are custom variables. One is forward and one is strafe. Obviously strafing, walking sideways, you know. And you see this map here of all the different places you can blend to. So if I move this guy, you'll see it's changing the forward and the strafe values depending on which direction my keyboard is. So obviously if I'm doing WSAD left, it's going to go all the way over here. Slowly going to ramp up and then hit the limit. And that's only going to move forward and not strafe. But if I hit A and S for left and down, it's going to go diagonal. And see how forward and strafe change both?
Yeah.
Same thing this direction. And then if I hold down, any variation, right? If I'm coming from here and then all of a sudden I only hold down, it's going to animate between those two. It's going to blend between those. So this is a nice visual way of seeing it. And these are all the different points. We created these on that video I was telling you about. They're X, Y, Z maps. It's very confusing to me, honestly, but it's kind of cool to visually see it. If I had to set this up again, I definitely would have to go back and watch that video because it's confusing. But you can see these highlight. This is the same nodes that you're seeing here highlight. Like you can kind of see. Oh, no, that's not working. What did I do?
You grabbed the blue one. So
I messed up. Undo. Yeah, see how it's like flashing, lighting up the different ones that I'm hitting?
Yeah.
It's like this is the top one, and the next one's probably, where's the next, this one? No, where is it? I don't know if they're any particular order. Oh, it's the corners first. So that's the last one. I don't know. They're in random order, I guess, but it's all these.
Yeah.
Cool. And so you can play down here and move this, I believe that's how it works. Yeah, see him moving?
Yeah.
You can test it out. And so what we did is we connected our third person controller to this animator by passing in on the script the animator.
Okay.
And in the code, we set a float, which is a variable of floating point number.
Yes.
We know the name of the variables forward. If I name this something different, like forward 2, it wouldn't work anymore. It's using that name that we set. I could have named this Miguel. It doesn't matter, right? The names have to match. And then we set 0 when we're not moving, or we set some we set some number here that causes. Okay, we can also set strafe. We're not setting strafe. Why are we not setting strafe? Do you know? Let me show you this again. What if I just go right? It should strafe, right? You would think strafing is if I. Oh, why is this not working? Dang it. It's not letting me drag like it was before.
Playing. Is it playing?
Oh, let me stop playing. That's why. Probably. Yeah. Okay. I want to play the blend tree. That's what I want to do.
It's playing again.
Why is it because I'm playing the blend tree? It does that?
No.
No. There we go. Okay, so look at.
Yeah.
Is he strafing?
No. He's just
If
running
I go
forward.
up,
Is it like directional in the camera?
Yeah, because he always runs forward, because the camera moves to follow him, because he rotates his body.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way for this character to strafe.
Unless the
Now,
camera was like locked or something.
we would have to add a strafe animation.
Oh.
So let's look at animations. This is the animator, but where's the animations? So let's look at that. You'll see that there is no actual strafe animation, or at least we're not hooked up to it. So where is the animations for this guy? Is it the avatar? No. Third person player. Where's the model? Animator, avatar, controller, normal. Where is it? Let's look. Character dummy male. Here he is. Let's see. Does he have materials? Does he have animations? Is it under roots? Hips, spines. These are different parts of him. Where's the animation? Is that a different view? Is there a tool window? Is there an animations window? Animation. Okay. Preview. What is happening? Show read only. Show read only. Boom. Look at all these different animations. So I want this to be parked like here. How do I move this? I want to dock this here, we'll say. Okay. So if I double click, how do I change which one of these? This is called a dope sheet. Not play. There we go. So, can I change which one's playing? So, I in out. So this guy's got a bunch of animations already, and I specifically wanted an animation setup, an animator, an animation setup where I could swap out the model from a dummy to a robot to a woman to a dog. Whatever. I just want to be able to switch it out. Maybe not a dog, but a bipedal, like 2 feet, walking upright creature should be able to use the same animations. And so I specifically, because once a long time ago I tried to make a robot game, and the guy that helped me make that animation, he didn't do it in the right way. The model, he didn't set it up, he didn't rig it in a way that could be reused with different animations over time. But this one, it's set up using mechanic or whatever the latest animation techniques are in Unity and 3D modeling and stuff. So I don't know how to actually play a specific one though, because I just hit play and he just runs. It looks like he's running backwards too. How did I even get here? Preview. Do I have to click it and then hit preview? What is happening? So I think this is like a single, backwards. This is a single animation. So this single animation is backwards, moves his chest front back, chest left right, chest twist left right, chest nod down. Every single little piece is being animated. Like this
kneecaps.
I bet there is a kneecap. This is a job. Just doing this stuff is complicated. That's why you need to either find good assets or someone who can make these for you. But that's just backwards. So look at idle.
Wow.
See, it's so complicated. I don't know how that guys works. So this is idle. He's slightly swaying, right? So do we have an actual strafe? Forwards, left. So left. Left might be strafe. No, he's still running forward, right?
Yeah.
So that's a run left, and we also have a walk left. So I think we go, depending on how long you've been holding it, it builds up velocity where it starts walking and then it runs. But there's no animation in here for strafing because he always turns his body.
Yeah.
So that explains why there's no strafing. So that variable on the animator is actually not used. So Boy Scout rule would tell us to do what? What would we do? Because that variable is not used. And because we just spent time looking into it thinking, oh, how do we do strafing? What's going on with strafing? Strafing is not supported. We're not doing strafing.
Yeah.
So what we should do, in my opinion, is delete it.
Ooh, organization.
Boom. Keeping things clean.
Get it out.
But now we know we can add custom variables there. Oh no, I broke it. How did strafing break? Let's undo. Undo. Let's see if it works again.
Ooh.
So just having strafe broke it? Not having strafe broke it? Or did something else break?
Try moving without strafe.
Strafe does something magical behind the scenes.
Oh, it actually does the animation.
It breaks the animation. So, where is strafe used? If not in our code, strafe must be used in the animations somehow. Dun dun dun.
It'd be
How do I find where this is used? Is it in here?
in
Do
forward.
you see strafe in here? Forward, strafe. It does use them.
They're
Okay.
combined.
So, the way this works is it has parameters forward and strafe. You can do strafe and strafe. And then it's really confused, probably.
Doesn't even move.
I don't know. Let's play it.
He doesn't go forward. He just
Sometimes
moves
you gotta
outside.
break things to figure out how they work. Yeah.
No animation.
Doesn't know what to do with that.
Forward's animation.
So,
Strafe is
this is some kind of mapping of two parameters. So it uses position X, position Y, and some time variable. I don't know what this means. To blend between these two things. Interesting. Well, that's right. When we were playing with it, it actually was changing strafe, wasn't it? How did I do that? How did I actually see what the two values were? Remember we were... Oh, down here. Yeah, so if you look down here, it does change strafe. Okay. So it needs those two variables to blend between different animations. So, okay.
Yeah.
Complicated stuff. Like I said, I would watch that other video. It'd actually probably be really good for you to watch.
Yeah.
It'd probably be good for me to watch it again. But yeah, the guy kind of explains how some of that works. Great. So we need strafe. Cool.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful.
saving. What else can we do? It's basically our only script in the game.
Yeah.
We wanted a clock.
Yes.
We wanted like a time portal, right? That moves you somewhere. What do you think? So one thing I like to do is when you're trying to eat an elephant. That's what that poster says back there.
One bite. I read that like every night. Just staring at it.
One bite at a time,
bite at a
man. It's
time.
so big, you don't want to get
Yeah.
overwhelmed. So how do we? What's the smallest thing we could do just to get some momentum here?
For a clock, you could just literally get the asset and just put it on the wall.
So you think the UI, some kind of
Yeah,
text that
just-
has the clock.
Yeah.
So a clock, to me, needs to update every minute at least. We could do seconds, but I would say minute.
Yeah. Just putting the model in
Or maybe
there.
we should do seconds. Because I feel like a minute's a long time to wait in a game with nothing happening.
I mean, you could have things to like interact with. So if it was just seconds.
You know what I really like? The clock in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
That has a second hand.
That does have a second hand.
So, but I think that'd probably be too much trying to get a real clock, right? I was just originally thinking numbers, but we could always take a a clock that has seconds in it, it'd be like 12:01:32, right? It could have that. It could be 3 sets of numbers in text. We could always change that later to be graphical representation of that, but in code, it would just be tracking an actual timestamp up to the seconds. Maybe milliseconds if we start saving the position. We might even want milliseconds, but maybe, I'm not sure about that.
Would the clock model still be the same in like the very future?
No, and I think that's okay, right? I think the point is we don't want to gold plate or like make like the clock so perfect when we're still using a dummy model, right?
Yeah.
We want the something throwaway, but also something that gets us closer to the end result. So something in between, right? So I would say let's just start with something that updates on the screen the seconds, minutes, hours to seconds.
Yeah.
And then later, if we decide we need milliseconds, or we decide we want a virtual, like an actual representation of a cuckoo clock or something, whatever, we can do that later. But I want to start by being able to represent the passage of time. That's the main thing we're trying to get really quick. So, yeah, maybe an asset, but I kind of want to code this just practice it, Ideally, we'd even have a test for it, but I don't want to go on a super tangent here because there are some things blocking us from easily testing Unity scripts, but maybe we'll look at it. Okay, so I think we need a new object.
Yes.
Possibly UI. Maybe we start with just text that doesn't change.
Yeah.
So we'll say it's 12:30:52, right?
Yes.
How do we get that display on the screen? So for that, I think Unity added some out of the box, like they now support text here, UI text. It used to be really ugly, but I think they've improved it a lot. So we don't need input field. Nobody needs to type the time. We don't want to use a canvas to like animate it or anything. We just want basic text. There's text and Text Mesh Pro. I don't know the difference. So I want to see what's like recommended these days in Unity. Text or Text Mesh Pro.
Unity on Twitter.
Twitter.
Oh, Text Mesh Pro is more like crazy. Do you want wacky letters? Or just normal letters?
Well, I mean, they don't really sell regular text here. It looks like garbage. So maybe we don't need anything super fancy. So this is 2018. They added it a while ago. Text Mesh Pro versus default text. Better control. All right. Boom. Look at that fancy text. Okay. Let's try it. Let's see if we can do it on our own. Worst case scenario, we're gonna have to like get a tutorial or something. But let's try using Text Mesh Pro.
Image.
Oh, it does have to be on a canvas.
No, I think you picked image.
Did I?
Yeah.
Good catch. It's one of the cool things about pair coding like this. If you don't go too far down a dead end, usually because someone will catch your mistake.
There you go.
Cool. So we want to call this guy clock.
Clock.
I don't know if we need to put the name like clock text because this is a point light. This is a third person player. So maybe it should be clock text. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably have some kind of naming convention. Clock text. Okay. And it says new text. What if we hard code 12:52:37?
Anti-meridian.
What I don't like about this time is we don't know if it's 24-hour clock or 12-hour clock. So let's make it
Man in the military.
24-hour clock. Okay. Can I see this in game?
Yes. It might not be two-sided though. Oh, it's just on the screen.
Boom!
Okay.
It works.
On the top, right? Like right
Okay.
in the middle on the top.
Where do you think it should go?
Right on the middle on the top.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. There should be a way to position. So that's just
Click and
align
drag
the
it.
text itself. Drag it.
Yes, click and drag it. Oh, it doesn't have a
I'm
thing.
in the. Am I in the game mode? Where this isn't either. So I think I'm
Yeah,
in the.
you're-
I'm
yeah,
in the
you're in
wrong.
game mode.
Yeah, I gotta go to scene. How do you zoom to something? Well, you can't see text. You can only see text in game.
We'll go behind him. Maybe it's like a
Canvas.
one-way thing.
I think canvas, you have to actually position things. So I could be
That's
wrong
the problem I
here.
had. I couldn't see the back of letters or words. I can only see the front.
Let's read this here. Display target, display one, screen space overlay, screen space camera. I don't know, it didn't really change. Canvas scalar. I don't know if this is actually taking up the full screen. Like, if I, here's one thing we could do. We can try this. I don't want to see. Yeah, so I don't think this takes up the full screen. It's just like there, right?
Yeah.
Which maybe is fine if this is the only thing on this canvas. I don't know. I don't know if you're supposed to put multiple widgets on a single canvas or if every UI element gets its own canvas. Because for a clock, this is probably a fine size, or maybe it's even too long, right? Yeah, let's look at this size
It
here.
looks fine. It looks nice.
So we have anchors, so we can start there. If we go to 0, 0 for the anchors, does it move?
No.
I think the position is set to 0, 0, right? But when I got rid of the anchors, it put the position where it kept the same position, but the anchors not changed. So I really want 0, 0. See, the anchors are no longer. Yeah, that's what we want.
It's on the left side. Yeah.
Max 0, 0. This should be the top left. 0, 0. Okay, now it's
You
off
saw it in
screen.
the view. You see that?
Yeah, now it's off
Oh.
screen. So maybe we leave max where it is, but we want to go, so this is left and right. So if we go 0, 0, what did that do? We can move it closer and farther from the screen.
Oh, maybe it's outside the box. But the
No,
game
it
view
doesn't
is-
work. It's a
Oh.
scale, it's a rotation. We could rotate it 30 degrees.
It looks small.
300 degrees.
Oh.
It's really rotating on the y-axis. Rotate on the z-axis. X-axis. It's flipping like this.
Yeah.
Scale, we'll leave it 1. What happened to our anchors? Let's look at our anchors again. So how do we get it to be at the top? Is it these max? How do we set this to 1? 1 and 1. There we go. I don't know what that did. That was weird. Oh, basically we're saying it can stretch across the whole screen. Okay. That's cool. But we want it to be in the middle, so maybe that would be x 0.5. So it starts on the left, but what if we want the pivot to be, maybe not pivot, but what if we want it to be the middle of the text? How do we do that? Is it one of these buttons here? Middle? Not that middle. I want that to be top. It's probably this one. Oh, that's kind of cool. Spaced out. Flush. Alright, I think this is centered. I still don't know why it seems to be off to the right, though. .25. It's a little weird.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
It's
Center.
It's beautiful.
Top.
Middle. Oh yeah. Oh,
Lost it.
under. There it is.
I don't like this random Y position though.
It has to be this way.
So these are the anchors, right? So let's fix this. So if you went at the very middle of the screen, you would go here. And then you still need a height, right? So it really shouldn't be that big. Put it, whoa, that's part of the problem. Okay, so 1. What if the height is 1? What if the height is 0.25? I'm trying to get it to be so small that it cuts off the text. I just can't do that. That's weird. Width. So definitely
Whoa.
can do
Imagine on the
width.
side of the screen like that.
15. 100. 200. 150. Just guessing here, right? 125.
354.
150. That seems fine. Okay. All right. So now let's change the anchor to be the top. It didn't move. Oh, because this is not 0. Great.
Beautiful.
Oh, but it's still off a bit. I think it's because of this. 45. 42. 41. 40. 41. Still, is that center? Is that perfectly centered?
Yeah.
And then let's say we want X to be down slightly. I don't know. Maybe it's fine there.
I don't think somebody's gonna measure it.
I was wondering, like, I should have a little more buffer from the top, but I think that's good.
Yes. Beautiful.
I mean, some monitors might cut it off or something, but whatever. Okay, I get that. Okay,
Stretch is.
I'm cool with this. Let's save it.
It's beautiful.
So, save. Oh, I have to exit this. All right. Now, what if I want to set this text based on some script, the value based on some script?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You add a new script. Right. Sad.
Actually, I don't know if that would work. Or maybe we have a script that takes the clock and changes the clock's text.
Yes.
Would that work? So let's try that. Let's say we want to put all of this inside of its own object, right? So let's create a 3D, not really an object, but a empty. So we create an empty game object. We'll call it the clock. So the clock has a canvas inside of it. I think it's a little weird though. I say again, I don't know if you're supposed to reuse canvases. I feel like you are. For now though, since this is specific, we'll say clock canvas. And then inside of this clock, we'll have a script as well. So let's create a new script. I think I go add component, new script. Okay, what should this be called?
Time. Ooh. Like.
For now, let's call it clock. I don't know. I don't know what else to call it. For now.
Clock advancements.
We may have a crazier representation of time. We know we're going to have some crazy stuff going on with time later. We're going to have to store positions based on time stuff. So, but maybe for the sake of displaying the current time, the clock will, I don't know, going through a door is going to change the time, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have some way to manipulate the clock based on that. But for now, let's just say we need a clock. Okay.
Yes.
So if I go to our project, did that file show up? Reload all. So I detected this, but it's not under, I don't like where it put it.
It's new.
Excuse me. Ah.
Bless you.
Where did it put it in the project? So this is where our other script was under core. Where it put the clock is... Actually, I don't see it. See? No? And here it says it's under assets. It said the root directory of assets. So it should be here.
See.
Yeah, it's just right here.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Why would it put it there? So let's move it to my project, scripts core.
Beautiful.
So when I move it, does it get lost or does this still know where it is? So this still knows where it is. Does this need to reload? Yes, it does.
Of course, of course.
Okay. And then we open it up. Clock. All right. So I guess when we first start... Okay, so we need to be able to actually put the text on here, right?
Yeah.
As a public component that we can manipulate. So how do we do that? Do you remember?
We gotta do a public class.
Not a class, but yeah, public variable, public property, I think it's called. So what is a text? Is it just text?
No.
What's the type?
Oh, man. I don't know all the publics yet, but
This guy here, clock text, he has... We could probably just call it a game object, maybe? No, because it needs to know that it's a text mesh pro. Let's try text mesh pro.
text mesh pro.
And it needs to be public, so
Yes.
public text mesh
Whoa.
pro? Doesn't know what text mesh pro is. Is it just text mesh?
Would that work?
And what's it called? Clock text.
Yeah, clock text.
Okay. So let's set the clock text if we can. I don't know if this will work. Dot text equal to
The number.
23.
59.
59.
23.
59. I want to set it to like the last value before it rolls over. When you start. Okay, error is gone. So let's look at this clock. It now has something. It takes a text mesh. I don't know if that's gonna work. Well, let's try passing it this. It doesn't work.
Wow.
Can we find one? I think this type is wrong. I think this is a text mesh pro. Can't really drag it. This guy doesn't have a type. Let's look at how we did it on the other ones. So, third person player, right? He takes a controller. This is a controller. If you look at it, does it have a type? Controller, third person player, transform. It has a controller on it.
Yeah.
What about this one? Main camera. So this is supposed to be a transform. So if we look at main camera is, it has a transform and a camera on it. If I actually go back to the script, the camera was, yeah, it's a transform. So our thing is not a transform. It's like a canvas, maybe a canvas? We could give it the canvas, but the canvas doesn't have text on it. It's this thing. This thing is not a transform, it's a rect transform. Let's try that. It's a rect transform. Okay. Does it still have text? See, it doesn't know what text is. Mesh. Text. Text. Mesh. Let's Google it.
Google. Whitebird's onto something.
Maybe just we have to find. Oh, you could also do this. Get the component off of the transform. So let's see. Is that what this guy did originally? No. You want to get component text mesh pro. Yeah, he did. Okay, so maybe we do that. So we take a rect transform and we do a dots game object get game components text mesh pro.
Doesn't like it.
Maybe it needs to import it using TMP Pro. Great.
Thanks, Stephen B.
Can we just add this directly? Ooh, we might be able to.
Wow.
Let's see if that works.
Whoa!
Let's see. Don't know if that will work. Okay, Text Mesh Pro. Doesn't know where it is. How can I drag this onto a script? Ah.
Add it as a component?
So it doesn't like it. So I think we do have to get it as a rect transform.
Check the comments. See if anybody's watching.
Boom. So we can add it as a rect transform. Can we actually change the text? Is get component? Did I do that right? Let's try it. Run it. Did I save? That's the key. Okay, didn't change the time. It says null reference exception, object reference not set to an instance of an object. Reference not set to an instance of an object. So I think the syntax is slightly different here. We need to do this. Actually, what did this guy say? Because you added text mesh GUI component, great. But you try to get a reference to components. There are two TMP components. We both try to use it. The first input is to prototype purpose of the second. It's UI text. I don't know if this is right. This is back from 2017, so.
2020. Using Damn, bro.
So you just use it directly. Okay. Okay.
Ah.
Maybe I can drag it. So if we go back to what we had. Public text mesh pro clock text. So if I do this. Problem is, I can't get to this. Can't get to this and then go back to this to drag it. That's the problem. I think I do have to have this and then pull this off of it. That's so annoying. There's got to be a way to drag. Like, can I open two of these inspectors? Or can I find it through something? Can't find it. So if I have this open, then I go here, and it closes. Wow. I move this here. Now it's on, and now it's on it.
Oh.
That's not what I want. Oh wait, hold on.
What if you want it on the same thing?
Undo.
Beautiful.
Drag. How did it even get there? Okay, so it's showing me everything under it. Okay, but this doesn't work. Doesn't actually let you do that. Why? Okay, so I think we had it right. We need to get components. I think I just need to look at the UI or the TMP text. This is from 2021. Do we need to do it this way? TMP text.
Just TMP Pro's the new way.
Yeah, that guy was right. 2021 was correct. So you just
Beautiful.
gotta look for the newer comments. Ah, see, but it broke. How did I break it? How did I break it?
Darn.
Oh, because I dragged something. Yeah, like this is now. And undo. Undo. Okay. Undo.
So much new stuff going into my brain.
Boom. I can drag it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 59, 59. Awesome.
Go!
Save that. And so now, if we want to change... I undid the move though. Gotta put this thing back to where it was. In course. No, nope, put it in the wrong spot. Okay.
Beautiful.
We probably don't actually want to set this. We want to set it to whatever it was because, like, maybe you're loading a level and you're not starting at this time, right? But instead, what we do want to do is we want to track real time, right? In the updates. Well, first off, can we just manually update this? So what is this really? This is a string, but it needs to be some kind of number system that can be turned into a time. So if we use a real clock. I guess we don't want to do that. We could parse out the minutes, just thinking out loud, hours, minutes, and seconds. Save those as floats or just numbers, right? Integers, and then just tick them. But then we had to have logic to like only go up to 60 or 59 and then roll over to 0. It's kind of weird. And for the hours it'd be 23 and then roll over to 20. Yeah, it's a little weird, right? We're basically writing a clock, logic for a clock, which has been done. We don't want to really use, there are libraries for clocks, like timestamps. We don't really want to use those necessarily because, well, maybe. What's cool about using a library for date and time is that they have functions like add 1 hour or add 1 second, and then you could do that, and then you can also like get text version of it. So we could use a clock, and we could just set its time to like a starting time that we care about.
Yes.
But then how do you increment? And then we increment it by adding 1 second every frame, or 1/60th of a second, depending on. Okay, so maybe you should have. So that can be private though, right? So we don't need to label it public. We're just doing private. This should be a timestamp. I don't know what it is in time. New time. Can I? Okay, so first off, let's just see if we can convert this to a string. So that might do it automatically. I'm not even, no. So it's like, that's not the same type. A time is not a timestamp. But what if I did toString? So toString is a function that's very common on a lot of objects that will represent the object in a text string format. So let's see what this does. This should be the current time, which is not, oops, where did I start? Which is not exactly what we want, but I want to see what it does. Yeah, don't run that. Okay. Literally converted it to, I think you did the engine time. I think I needed to set the time initially, so I think it's actually new time dot now or something like that. So let's look up Unity timestamp.
2009. Holy crap. 4?
Okay. Auto-generated build time. Date time dot now. So we want date time, not time. Okay. That makes sense. And it doesn't know what that is. Can we import it? Yes, we can. It's from system. This also we don't need. Apparently it's saying you don't need to specify we just put using. Great. So I guess we could rename this to, oh sorry, what's the shortcut for rename? Where's rename? We're working. What? Nice. Good job. Cool.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah.
You're live on the internet.
Say hello to Stephen B.
Who?
The guy from that one interview. He taught you the other.
Oh. Who?
Stephen B. He taught you the code for the. He was on that one forum website that told you about the date time.
What about it?
Remember? What's that? Freudberg? Oh man, you had to be there. Sorry, my bad. You just had to be
I
there.
have no idea what you're saying. Okay. Date time. I found this record. Okay. New date time. Wait, we probably want dot now. Dot
Stephen B.
now? How do we get now? Is it just default now? Let's just see what this does.
Stephen B.
Oh, I keep hitting start. Cool.
Oh, that's a date?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it doesn't change. What we could do is we could say datetime dot. Oops. Well, first let's get the we want the right format. So it's not toString. It's like dot formats that get datetime formats. I don't know how to do this.
He was on there.
Here we go. System date time. I don't want system date. Maybe that'll work. That's a string though. I don't want that. C# date time format to
Chop this too?
hours. Sure. Okay, what do we want? We want just the time. We'll say it's all in one day. We want military time if possible. This one maybe? Yeah. It's like this. Daytime now. So we don't even need a variable if we wanted to use the now. This would just constantly, every second, get whatever time it actually is, so every frame. Not exactly what we want, because we want to be able to change the hour, but let's see what it looks like.
Oh! It's beautiful. Shedding a tear right now. Came so far.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Alright. But we don't want to do that exactly. We don't want now. We want whatever time we told it to be. So in this case, you can set whatever time. This will probably be now by default. But instead of now, what if I did date time dot toString? And then this could be actually new date time could be set to clock text dot text. Okay, so it doesn't work. There should be a get. Oh, maybe it's like that. Why? Too long. So we want C# create date time from date time. New date time. New date time. Okay, so that's just the date. Oh, new date time. No daytime. Do we need all of these things? Oh, so they're just like comma separated. So they're not strings, they're integers. Okay. Cool. And then this. Keep running it. Stop running it. Question is, does it change every second after? Because I set it to a specific time. Does it still increment? It does not. So how do you increment it? What?
My mom asked tomorrow what time.
I don't know.
She said 10.
Okay, fine.
Should I chop this to do you need to?
Sure. Can you make rice?
Stephen B wants rice.
Why not?
Stephen B loves rice.
One cup.
Yeah, unless you want some.
I have left. You're making. Okay, fine.
Thank you.
Stephen B would be proud.
What is 11, 59, 59. So what this does is give us a static date and time, but it doesn't give us a clock, right? It doesn't change. So we could add a second to it every frame. That's obviously going to go way too fast. But maybe there's a feature in our game where time moves faster.
Yes.
Okay, 11:59. Oh, that's not good. I don't want it to be 11. I want it to be
23.
Okay, fine. So let's do this. Let's.
Which one should I use first?
Stephen B says that one.
Yeah, that one. Daytime dots. Okay, so we want to add milliseconds. Honestly, I don't know how many.
Of course.
I don't know how many seconds are, or how many frames are in a second. There's got to be a way to get that. But for now,
How many
let's
frames
say.
are in a second, Siri? She'll tell her.
No, it's for depends on your Unity project, I think. Dots. Okay, add seconds. We'll just start by adding seconds.
Yeah.
Add seconds. 1. Okay. So every frame will add a second. See what that looks like. It's gonna
Running
be
60
wind
frames.
up.
How many frames are running here? Well, maybe if you move around, it changes.
Didn't work because it's not keeping. It's not up. It's not saving this. It's It's just setting the text. So what should it actually be? This should actually be date time. And maybe a better name would be like instead of setting text here, what do we want to set? Yeah. So really this should be named. Something like current date. Okay. And this should have renamed both. I don't know why I didn't. Current date. Dang it, why do they keep doing that? Undo. Okay, rename, current, rename, current. Why is it not working? Isn't it Control R? Current, I guess I should do it where it's declared. Okay.
Running 60
So.
frames.
Alright, so what I want you to do is I want you to update this only one time per second. Okay? So you need to do some Googling,
Oh yeah.
figure out what our current project's set up for, like how many frames are updated in a second. And then instead of adding 1 second every frame, you want to add
As many as it takes.
no less than that, so some
0.2.
fraction. Yeah. So I'm gonna let you do this part.
Stephen B would be proud. Okay, word. Say less. How's it going, y'all? What y'all be up to these days? Huh? Okay, we're gonna find out how many. Okay, how many frames are we running? I don't know. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. So we're gonna change that, right? Let's. Okay. What if we just change it up right then? I said 0.2. It's gonna work. See how slow we're running. Still too fast. Oh, just go here. Okay. Some cat. Just keep going down, you know. Just keep going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Already did it. Oh. Get me on Microsoft Team right now. Get me on Microsoft Team. Yeah. I did it. Did it.
Yeah. You did it?
Yes.
What did you do?
That is a 0.
Okay, show me.
It's beautiful.
Too slow.
What's his name?
Oh. 1 Mississippi, 2. 1 Mississippi, 2. 1 Mississippi, 2. Okay, looks pretty good. Show me the code. Walk me through it.
Alright. So this is what I did.
Code review.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I just added a 0.
How accurate is that? It might just be close to a second, but how accurate is it?
It's definitely not accurate, I can tell you that.
Okay, let's check it out. It might be.
Actually,
Because if it's 60 frames per second,
yeah,
that
it'd be
actually
one-
would be
Yeah, it would be.
pretty. I think that's how math
I was
works.
thinking 60, right? I tried it too, but it was too fast, and I was like, that has to be.
How
that has to be.
many frames in a second by default in Unity scripts? 30.
30. Ooh.
Oh, this is on mobile. I don't know. Scripting API monitor. Fixed update? Ooh, fixed update versus update. Frame rate independent monitor fixed message of physics for physics calculations. has the frequency of the physics system. It is called every fixed frame rate. Oh, every fixed frame rate frame.
.02.
Physics system calculators after fixed update. 50 calls per second. It's the default time between calls. Use time fixed delta time to access this value. So I think this is actually what we want in Unity, because I think it can change.
What?
I don't think it's. I think it fluctuates, right? It might not call exactly 60 times. It might be 59.9.
Yeah. You're right. Oh my
think
goodness.
This is what you want.
Frames fluctuate.
Well,
How could I not know this?
Let's check. I could be wrong.
Well, it definitely will change once you get more stuff in your game.
Super fast. So, what did I do wrong? I did 1 divided by time dot fixed delta. Should it be multiplied instead? No, I'm just guessing.
Definitely not.
Are you sure?
It's gonna go like
Because
5 million times.
It's probably 0.01.
Yeah, 0.01.
So 1 times 0.0
yeah, it's going
would
light
be
speed here.
0.01. No, I think it's right. Yeah. Oh, that's a little fast. So
0.0.
fixed delta time. Oops. What's the other
Just
dot
change that one lower.
update time? Is there like dot delta time? I don't know the difference between delta time and fixed delta time. We should probably check that out. I think fixed is for the fixed update function, which is used for physics. I don't know if we should be using that one or just update. But
Oh, that looked beautiful. That looked beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I think physics is
looks crispy.
updated more often. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice.
Put a timer up next to it.
So we could set. Yeah, I guess. That's a good idea. Get a timer.
Come up. Oh no.
Time. Stopwatch. Start.
1. Oh, it's right on.
So 49.
Yeah, it's always a second behind. It's beautiful.
50:19. Yep.
It's beautiful.
Okay. Cool. So let's do a little learning here, I guess. In Unity, what is time delta? Oh, sorry, delta time. The interval in seconds from the last frame to the current one. Read only. When this is called from inside fixed update, it returns fixed delta time. Delta time inside on GUI is not reliable because Unity might call it multiple times per frame. The following example rotates a game object around its z-axis at a constant speed. So this is something that gets used a lot. And it is multiplied because it's a decimal point. So you don't divide degrees per second. Yeah, great.
Beautiful.
And okay, the only thing I would say we could tweak is we could make this time, instead of hard coding it to this date, we could set it when you create the clock. So what if we had something like there's a. How about you do this?
Oh, what?
Set.
Okay.
Put some properties on here for the month, day, year, hour, second, hour, minute, second.
What?
And instead of using for the current date time 2021, you'll use the year. Instead of 9, you'll use the month. You know what I'm saying? So you can dynamically set on the clock itself what you want the starting time to be, what day and stuff. Like here, how we have a public clock text property, you should have a property for year, month, day, hour, minute, second. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Try it.
So, what? So, I'm like, okay. I don't know.
Try it.
What am I
Add
trying
a
to
new
do?
property.
Okay. Let's go public. You know what I'm saying? That's a new property, right?
Properties have to be public in order to see them in Unity, right?
Yeah.
And show
And then-
it should be a number. It's not a float, so try non-float, like no decimals, and they're called integers.
Integer.
Capital I.
Oh.
Just int.
Int.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Int.
that's actually lowercase. I was wrong. Okay.
Here we go.
And you
Time-
want to give
time
it a
month.
name. So let's start with the year.
Time year.
I would just call it year.
Year.
Or starting year.
Oh no. Year.
Yep. Camel case. That's good. That's when you put the second. Actually, I forget what it's. Starting lowercase camel case, right? Where it starts
Yeah.
lowercase and goes up and down, right?
Yes.
Hump case. Okay. Now, put that starting year in the new date time for current date time instead of 2021.
So I take this out, right?
Yeah, replace that with the variable you created.
So. Yar.
Sir, y'all.
Yarg. No. No.
So, what does it say? If you hover over it, it says it wants what? Field initially can reference this non-static field method or property clock starting year.
So wants the clock in front of it?
No, hold on a second. It's saying that basically starting year might not have been initialized yet. So,
That int.
try setting a value on starting year to 2021.
So I'd
Say
put
equals 2021.
Oh.
Still complain?
Yep.
Into starting year. Field initially can have reference to non-static method or property.
It's this int.
Okay, so basically, you don't want to set the start time until the start function. That's what's going on here. So this is trying to create this before these are set, possibly. So try this. Try adding back the void start function.
Right here.
Yeah,
Void. Then
capital S start.
start.
Okay, so it needs the parentheses. It's saying that it's a function. It doesn't take any parameters. So there's nothing inside there. No arguments. And then instead of it's not calling a function. It's creating a function. So you need curly braces. See those two curly braces?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then one after the date time because I want you to actually put that after.
Beautiful.
And
Wow.
then get rid of the semicolon.
Yes.
Cool.
Wonderful.
And then you can format the code. Control Alt L maybe. Nope. What is the code format option? P code snippet. Finish. Outline. Get. Remove. Find all. I'm not seeing it. Build. View. Get. Project. Build. Tools. Is it? Where is it? Wow. So annoying.
Just space it until it's under it.
Maybe it's a tab, but I don't understand that. Okay, we can come back to that. But now it's complaining. Hover over to see what the error is.
Name does not exist in the current context.
So do you know what this is trying to tell you?
Move that forward because the
No.
braces, right?
No, that doesn't matter. But That is annoying. I don't know why there's no auto formatting on it, but yeah.
Oh, there we go.
But no, the problem is you're declaring a new variable inside of start.
It's not even up there.
Yes, so you're declaring it inside of start.
Yeah.
Once the start runs, it's lost.
Yes.
So what you need is you need a property up here as part of the class called date time, current date time. That's just not set by default. So it doesn't need to be public.
Oh, wait. Should I say it?
Call it the same thing, current date time. Or I'm sorry, it needs a type. So sorry, date time.
Nice.
Not dot, just space. You want to name it current date time.
Do I capitalize?
T, the second T, yeah. Or D, sorry, current date. Yeah. Capital T. Alright, and then semicolon. You don't want to set it. Okay. Now, it doesn't give you an error, but it probably should. You're redeclaring on line 13 current date time, same exact name. So that's not what you want. You want to get rid of the type. Yep. Okay, now that will set it. That will set it. The property up there, and then that's reused down there.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So now what this is doing is saying, I don't know the current date time when it starts, when it's first created. You actually don't even know the year necessarily. But by the time start gets called, start year has been set and clock text has been set. So now you just need to set current date time using the values you got from start, from the properties here. So I would actually maybe put this different, because this one's private, right? So let's put a little space there. But now you want to do the same thing for the rest. But I guess start by going back to Unity and make sure you put it in here.
Save it. This one? Which one is better?
Save all is fine. Cool. Alright, so starting year is there now. So you want to set the starting year because it's set to year 0. Year doesn't really matter in our case.
1999.
Maybe at some point it will.
Yeah. Forgot it doesn't save if you're in game mode.
Yeah, turn off game mode. Yeah, so maybe we could even get rid of the starting year and let it default to 0 or 20, whatever. In fact, now that I look at it, I say let's do that. Let's not crowd our properties here with year. So go back to your code. Instead of starting year, change that to starting hour. So really, that's always we care about. Hour, minute, and seconds. So starting hour. And then, yep. And then change that starting year on line 14 to just 2021 or 0 or anything, really. As long as it's a valid year, I guess. I don't know why it's insert, but yeah. That's always where inserts are. Okay, got it. Yeah, so then change the starting hour. Oh, what happened? I think we erased the. Okay, so this is probably month, day. Yeah, we erased the month on accident. But yeah, this is now starting hour. Okay, so highlight. So put your cursor next to this and do Control D twice.
This?
Yeah, it's already there, but hit Control D twice. Now change those.
Yes.
Change one to starting minute and one to starting second.
Wow.
You could just say min.
Okay.
And then sec.
Sorry, my spelling bee years are over.
Okay. And then use those on line 16 now.
So this would be a minute, right?
Yeah. Or hour. No, you did hour. Minute, yeah. Mim.
Mim. Yes. And this would be. Beautiful.
Cool. Save that. If you run it, everything's probably 0. So run it. I want to see how it handles all zeros. Okay, so it handles all zeros fine. But let's actually set let's set a time we care about. Let's say our game starts at, what, 8 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
Why is it not?
Or
No, it is.
8:30, whatever. Pick so not here, but in Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting hour.
Just pick some starting hours.
7.
Okay. It's minutes and seconds. Doesn't really matter, I guess.
28. 0. 7:28 p.m.
Cool. Run that. Oh, 7:28. Oh,
Beautiful.
102. We did it.
Beautiful.
All right.
It's
I
great.
think save this. File save.
I'm blind. Where is it? Save right here, right?
Yeah, it is.
I need glasses. I need glasses.
So I think this is good progress. What do we want to do? We wanted to add a clock.
Yes.
We've got that.
Yes.
Then we wanted to add a collision effect with the door or something that teleports you back to the center of the room and changes the time. So that's the next bit we can do. How fast do you think we could do something like that?
A day or two, maybe a day.
But we could do it in an hour.
You're lying. That's a lie. I feel like that'd have to have so much into it.
Let's try it. What? Let's do it. So, first thing we need to figure out is triggers. So, it's not UI. The trigger is going to be maybe in the geometry even. Maybe the door itself. So we already have a door. We know this. We saw it earlier under geometry. But maybe... So do we put it on the door itself? Ceiling, floors, walls, props. It was a prop, right? So we have a door frame. So let's put a script or a trigger or something on the door frame that jumps us, right?
Yes.
So how do you handle collisions? How do you trigger on collision? So let's look that up real quick.
Those rigid bodies. Just
Unity on collision. Okay, so here's an example. On collision enter. On collision enter is called when this collider rigid body has begun touching another rigid body collider. In contrast to on trigger enter, on collision entered is past the collision class and not a collider. We may want on trigger enter. I don't know. The collision class contains information, for example, about contact points and impact velocity. Notes collision events are only sent if one of the colliders also has a non-kinematic rigid attached. Collision events will be sent. I think let's go with trigger for now. I think trigger is even simpler. So when a game object collides with another game object, Unity calls on trigger enter. On trigger enter happens on a fixed update function when two game objects collide. The colliders involved are not always at the point of initial contact. Both game objects must contain a collider component. So let's check that. Do we have a collider on our door? We do.
Yes.
Do we have a collider on our person?
Most definitely. Oh, actually, I don't know.
I think we do.
I don't think we do. I don't think we do. Oh, wait.
Active.
Yes,
Let's
we
look
do.
at active. Third person, he has a
No.
character controller. He has a third person script.
Oh,
He has a
collider.
capsule.
Capsule.
collider. So
Oh,
that
yeah,
looks like
the
it's
ball.
Turned off. But let's turn it back on. File save.
So you gotta put. Do you have to put it on both of them, or just?
So now we should be able to. I think we should put the script
On the door.
on the door. Because say different doors will
Yeah.
teleport you differently, or maybe one would give you a message saying door locked or something, right?
Yeah.
So let's put it on the one door we have. So let's add a new component. We'll call it door trigger.
DoorDash.
Door trigger. And what does this do? So again, it probably put it in a weird spot. I don't know why it does that. It should probably ask me where I want to put things, but I want it to be here. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
I'm gonna use that
we
lock trigger.
want door trigger to not update, not start. What we want is probably on trigger. Nope. Let's go back to the code. It's called update on trigger enter. So it's uppercase. In fact, we can do this. Okay.
Beautiful.
On trigger enter. So we don't have speed here. Let's instead move the other dot transform dot x dot equals dot transform dot move. How do we move some object?
So you're trying to move the person right now, right?
Yeah.
Or what do you touch?
Do I have to get its component dot transform x equals 10? That doesn't work. Other dots. This only gets it. We don't want to get it. We want to actually move it. Game object dot transform dot x equals. Nope. Okay. Unity on trigger enter move other. Trigger position. Oh, position.
Oh, of course, position. How do you gotta move the position of players?
Position equals. Okay, and then we need starting like a vector
3. I use that too
zero,
much.
0, 0. This is gonna be floating. We don't want that probably, and it's gonna be a new vector 3. So this guy's gonna be floating. That's not gonna be good. But let's check it out.
What the dog doing?
It's
Oh,
already floating. That's freaking
he's
weird.
moving. He's out of there.
Is his collider Is his collider too big or something?
If we keep it off,
What is
turn off his collider first.
third person? No, it's not too big. If I turn it off, let's see what happens. Okay. He doesn't move.
But he's on the ground, man.
But look at his position.
Ooh.
So he doesn't move without his collider on? Why? Boom,
Starts
he starts
flying.
floating. Why? Why? How big is this collider on the door? Mesh collider. Do we even see this? Yeah, it's right there.
That's all we're doing.
On trigger and that. So if I get rid of this.
What's going on here?
I think
You activated
I
his
think I should,
collider.
yeah, I'm thinking I should turn it off and then let the game. No, it is on.
No, his collider. You turn that off or on.
What is happening right now? Okay, undo.
Go to. You gotta go to his collider. Trust.
Okay.
You turned it on.
What did I just turn off? I thought I turned it off.
Yeah, you turned off controller, or
I
yeah,
turned
you turned
this.
off, and
That's
then you
wrong.
turned on collider.
I meant to turn off the collider. So where's the collider?
Beautiful.
Yeah, this needs to be off.
Should be good as new. Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Keep it. Oh yes.
Okay, good. Where's the door? Can't see it. This one?
Right there.
I don't know.
Do you have multiple doors?
Do we have multiple doors? Can't remember. I don't think so. Maybe one door.
Oh, oh.
Where's the door? Some of the prop.
Yes.
Okay, so there's only one door. So right here. Oh, okay. Yeah. So maybe it's not triggering because
We have to add the same thing to him, so we both trigger.
I wonder if because one is because they don't, it doesn't go into the trigger because there's physics on it, so it's the collider is probably preventing it from actually triggering. Trigger. Adventure. Is it an event trigger? Let me click it. Pointer, enter. Pointer.
Move.
Pointers. Where's pointer click?
Right there.
This is pointer click base events. One time only. Edit new object. Huh?
Go there.
What does this do? Pointer clicker. Trigger. Door trigger. Okay. I can't actually click the door. Okay, here's what we'll do. Add debug.log entered trigger. Yes, not entering it. Okay, so what if we move? Now you entered it. Doesn't work. Okay, so material, non-physical material. Maybe that's the problem. It's a mesh, but no physical material. Oh, is trigger. What do we do is trigger? There we go. Alright, you go over. Okay. Oh, enter trigger. That worked. Okay, so you have to actually go into it, it looks like. You can't walk into it because it has physics. So I had to move this. Okay. So put this back. How can we make these things actually okay, so what if instead of the door, alright, check this out, Miguel.
I'm back.
So, first I had to mark the mesh collider as a trigger. I think it's so it only fires once.
Makes sense.
And then I have to actually go clip into it. So if I run up against it, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But if I move the wall and it hits me, now it jumps and hits my log thing, enter trigger. So what I'm thinking is, because this has physics, I can't walk into it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking to remove the script from this. Remove the script, make it not a trigger, and instead add some other prop to this, or other, like let's create not a prop, but like some kind of
Button.
effect, maybe. I don't know if effect is the right.
Pressure plate it.
Yeah, something like that. So let's call it an effect for now. Just create an empty, and we'll call it door trigger. Door underscore trigger. Okay, and then this guy's gonna have a collider, but I don't want it to actually have physics. So not a mesh collider. Is there box collider? Box collider, 2D box collider, circular, composite collider, edge collider, terrain collider. Is there like a trigger specifically? Collider. Probably will want to be able to click the door to trigger it in the future, but I just kind of want to get something off the ground here. So let's try adding a
on the ground. Oh.
Box collider.
Box collider. Put on the ground.
Maybe it needs to be. I guess a block is 3D, right? Where is this? Here. Okay. So let's move this.
On the doorknob. Oh, beautiful.
So I don't know. I have to zoom in and see where this actually is. I can't really tell.
Outside.
Is it in the wall?
No, it's outside.
How can you tell?
There we go.
Oh. Okay, so let's move this to the center. That alone might be good enough, but I probably should make it. Oh, is trigger. There we go. Make the size longer. And I guess we don't want it to collide with the floor, right? We only want it. We want it to be if the thing it's colliding with is a player. So this might actually cause other things to move. Now that I think about it.
Make it float around the door like a doorknob.
I don't know if it will do that or not, but it could be weird. Okay, something like that. Okay. And then we'll add the trigger and see what happens. It may move other things.
The door just.
You know, it'd be nice if we faced the door when we started. Enter trigger. But it didn't move me. Why? worked that time.
Full-fledged.
What was the difference?
You came from the side.
Was I walking too fast before?
You come from the side.
Yeah, I think I'm already inside of it when it happens or something. What's happening? Can only trigger it once, maybe?
You gotta repeat it.
Yeah, it might only be triggerable once when it's a trigger. Let's turn it off trigger. Also, let's move the player because I'm tired of having to turn. How do I rotate?
The top left. It's like two square there. Top left. More. All the way on the top left. Left. There.
Rotate.
Oh.
Did not work. Third person player.
I get a sphere.
I don't like that. Rotation 90.
Negative.
180. 270.
Beautiful. Oh, the camera. Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Okay, so now it doesn't work at all. It has to be a trigger.
Did I click on it? No.
It can only trigger once though. Seems a little weird. Door trigger. Here's a trigger.
What's on there?
I entered it and then maybe it's because I was still moving. Definitely something weird. Yeah, I think it's because I was moving. There's two things. One, it cannot be, it's got to be like reset. So I think there's a reset. This dot reset. How do I do that? Reset trigger. Unity. Reset all animation. Unity on enter trigger not re-triggering. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be using on enter. Maybe we need to be using inside.
In this
No. Is there other triggers, or is it only on trigger enter? Collider. On trigger enter stay. Stay is called almost all frames for every collider other that is touching the trigger. The function is on the physics time. So this, if I do this, it may actually start moving other objects, but let's try it. On trigger stay. Cool. It's interesting that it doesn't Yeah, so if I am running at it, it doesn't do it. But if I stop in it, yeah, that's good.
Oh, okay.
But if this were to collide with this, we may have a problem. Let's see if that breaks it. It doesn't move my door. So it didn't say there's anything triggering. Maybe because it's built into the scene, it doesn't trigger. Interesting. So I think we're good. I won't mess with something that's working, especially for a prototype like this. But yeah, so you walk up to a door, boom, teleports you. Cool. Now we need
Beautiful.
the time. Let's change the clock. So the trigger needs to know about the clock.
Yes.
So let's go to our door trigger. Let's add a clock. Public. What was it called again? It was like a TP Pro
Oh.
dot
Yeah.
T text
TM Pro?
TM P text, yeah, something. Clock text. And then how do we reset the clock? Actually, you know what? That's not what we want, is it?
They're like, every time you do that. Right? That's how it works, right?
We don't want to control the clock text. What we really want is we want to tell our clock object what we really want is, since we have a clock script, right? Does it have a class named clock? It does, right? So is this an object? This is a mono behavior. It's not an object. We want some kind of function to change the time. Because right now we only change the time on start. But in reality, we should have something like this. Public void change time. And then we pass in int hour, int min, int seconds, right? And then check this out.
What is going on?
We can do current time. Current time equals hour
Oh, snap.
min second. So now I don't need this. Instead, I can do change time,
Genius.
right? So I'm not repeating myself by setting this multiple places. I'm just reusing this function. So what I did is called a refactor. I didn't change how it behaves. It's exactly the same as before. If I run this, it should work exactly the same if I did it right. But I cleaned up the code. I made it a little better. So let's check the refactor and make sure I didn't break anything. Usually you have tests here to help check your work to make sure you don't break anything, but we'll do a manual test in this case. So it's still going up.
Yeah.
Starts at 728, so that's fine. What I really want to be able to do is pull this script off of. See, I don't know how to do this exactly, but like, let's say I put a public variable instead of the clock text. I just have like a game object. Game object called clock. What I really want to be able to do is something like clock dot get clock script dot change time, and then the hour could be 14:35:59.
And your average average day of work, how many times do you put notes? Like the group.
I prefer tests over comments,
Oh.
but we don't have testing set up here, which is something I'm definitely going to work on this week, hopefully. But yeah, what you would do is you would write a test explaining what you want to happen, and then it would fail, and then you would change the code and then you'd run the test again, and it would start working, right?
Okay.
Here I'm doing a comment just kind of track what I'm going to do next. So I want something like this, but look at this. How do you do get clock script? That's not a thing. In Unity, there's got to be a way to get a script off of a game object. I know we kind of looked at this earlier with something component. Access script from another object. So this guy's got my enemy, and then reference the script attached to my enemy. So what did he goes my enemy.get components, and then the name of the script.
Yeah, get components.
Okay. So it is get components. Cool. So let's try that. Let's go clock dot get components clock. One problem with this is that this is okay, so it does know about this. That's good. If I said change time to, it should give me an error because there's no such thing as change time to on here, but there is a change time. So that's good. It does know that if this object does have where it could go wrong though is if I put a game object on here that is not actually a clock. This will cause issues. I'll show you that in a second. But this is assuming that it is a clock. The thing is, Unity, you do all that on the setup. So if you mess it up, it's going to break and you'll have to fix it right away. It's not like it's going to break in the middle of the game. Unless you're dynamically adding objects onto this somehow through another script. Something crazy, right? But for what we're doing, it should work. So let's look at our trigger. So under effects, door trigger, we now have a place for the clock. So I'm going to drag the clock here, and because it has a clock script on it, it should be able to pull that part off. Let's see if it works. Okay, I'm going to walk into the door again. It moved me and changed the time, 14:30 something 59. Right? Is that what I set it to? 14:35:59. 14:35:59. So it freaking works like magic. But I want to show you, if you ever see this bug, if I put a different object, say a random wall or something,
Explodes.
it doesn't tell you right now that there's a problem. But once I tried to call that code, it didn't actually reset the time. And it has a error in the log, but it didn't break the game, which is interesting. It says object reference not set to an instance of an object. Door trigger on trigger stay. Engine collider other. So it's interesting. So it is set, but it didn't. I guess it didn't because it's the wrong type. Whatever. It just gracefully handles it. So. Something to know. If you ever see an error like that, it could be because you put the wrong object type in there. So we don't need this anymore. So what does this class do? This door trigger takes a clock of a game object that has a clock script on it.
And go to the door.
It sets on trigger stay. So other is anytime any collider, which happens to be our player, is the only thing moving around.
Yeah.
It's staying inside of this trigger, which is just a box. Then we want to move that other thing to the 0 position, which happens to be the center of the room.
Yeah.
And we want to change the time on the clock to 14:35:59. So one other thing I want to do here.
let's say you're holding an object,
Yeah.
right, from the room. Would it, if you went through the door, would it take the object with you, or would you have to put that on the object also?
I think that's some fun thing to play around with, right?
Yeah.
We start thinking about game mechanics. The first thing is, what do you want it to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to be able to teleport things with you? Maybe. Maybe that'd be a fun game element, right? To be able to take something that only appears at a certain time in the room,
Yeah.
take it to a different time.
Mm.
So, but yeah, how would you do it? I think it would teleport with you if it was attached somehow.
Okay.
So, like, I think you can have spots for weapon attachments or something on your character, and then it will be under. So in Unity, our player, where is he? The actor. He has things under him. Like he just has an animator, but an animator has things under it. But we could also have a new I don't know, a new cube. So a new cube under him. I don't know if it doesn't have collision or anything. Oh, it does have. Let's take off the box collider and see what happens. Can I move around this cube? Yeah, I can. Okay, so does it move the cube with me?
Yes.
Yes, it does, right? So you would have to put it like under you somewhere, right? And so what we could do is we could have a trigger on the cube. When I run into the trigger, or when I run into the cube, it can move the cube onto me.
Yeah.
Like I could have like an empty spot instead of a trigger, instead of a cube, I can have let's say, new empty, we'll call it weapon slot. Right? I could have a weapon slot, and then this could have a script called weapon slot and collider, and then or I could even just have a collider here, and I can have like I don't know. We could do it just like the trigger. We could say when you run into a trigger, it knows what to do, right? And so it would take the other thing, which is the player, find its weapon slot, and move itself onto it somehow. Like there's probably a way to do that. Definitely something to mess around with.
Yeah.
Picking up items, right? But I think for the sake of what we planned out to do today, we're close. Just one more thing that doesn't quite make sense to me. It's like, why are we hard coding a time here inside of the scripts for door trigger? What if we had two doors? Would all doors take you to the same time? Or what if you go through the door twice, right? Is it always going to take you back to the same? No. So we want to be able to change that. So this should really be a property on the door trigger. So let's change it again. There's going to be, so let's start with the same thing we did before, which is public new hour. Oops, it's an integer, right? Int new hour public int new minute public int new second, right? And we could even do this with position, right? But I think for our game, it'll probably always end up taking to the same position unless we start having multiple doors, and the doors can also change where you end up, like time and place. But that's where it starts getting extra complicated. Right now, we're just trying to test out if it'd be fun like this. So, all right, this fails. Why? What is this talking about? Did I break something? Did I add something?
The new minute now.
The trigger. The clock. Where's the trigger?
Wait, you put the building, yeah. You put that back to the clock.
Oh, I didn't get rid of the block. I should get rid of the block. Where's the block? Cube. Get rid of the cube. Oh, I think I might have deleted something. No. It was just Animator, wasn't it? Where's the block?
Yep.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so it's set to 0000 because I didn't put a time, right?
Yeah.
But maybe that's fine for now. We can always come up with a better time. Or we could also say, what should the time be for this door trigger? Let's say it should be the last possible moment, 20 23, 59, 59. Well, again, that's just going to reset to 0. So maybe it should be like 12 minutes before.
Oh, yes.
So, or 12 minutes after, right? Because wasn't it, what time was it? It was like 12.
10.
Wasn't it 12?
12:10, and you had like 2 minutes worth of talking from him.
Yeah, that's true. 12:10. Okay. Cool. Now. Boom.
Yes.
I don't know how I brought up this whiteboard thing. What is this? Cool. 12:10. We did it. I don't know if that was a half hour or more, but that was pretty close, right? Wasn't that crazy? We just broke it down one thing at a time. Boom.
Thought it was gonna take a day.
There's one thing I want to do that maybe I'll leave as an exercise for you this week, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be. No, we should do it together. So I don't like that we're passing in 3 different values: new hour, new minute, new second. What we could do is have something called time that has these 3 things in it.
Yes.
So let's do this real quick. We go new, add new item. Where's new? Let's try new item. Visual C# editor script. Is that what it is? C# mono behavior. Okay, so this is the same thing as adding a script via the editor, but I'm doing it through here. So it's in the right spot, right? Not to move it around, but also just to show you another way to do it. So let's call this. Time. I know there's probably already something called time, but let's start with this, okay? This thing should have properties on it. Public, int, hour, public, int, minutes, public, int, second. Okay? And then what if I changed this to take a public time. So then does this pull the right time? This is pulling Unity engine time. We don't want that, right? Cat. We have a cat here.
The cat is the
I
answer.
want to pull this from our code. So how did we do it with clock? So clock's not imported.
Get component? No.
Import, fixed formatting, wrap call, suppress. I want to import this.
Get component? No.
Problem is Unity engine also has a time, so we can rename it something else. A cat. Hey. Let's just rename it for now, but we need to start thinking about how to organize our code too.
Yes.
So I'm gonna rename this. Not time object, but time.
What's another word for time?
Well, what it's really a container for hour, minute, seconds. What we want. Is it a
Meter?
time container. I'll just call time container for now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Time container. And the whole file should have been renamed. Rename. No. Rename. Time container. Okay. So this should take a time container, and it doesn't know what that is. Can we import it? There. It's weird that we have to import this one, but it knows about this one. That is very weird. How is clock different? So clock is a public class mono behavior. This one is the namespace is different. So let's fix this. Let's not put a namespace on this. So namespaces are for encapsulating your code. So like you don't have to call using on it to import it because you're in the same namespace, then it will just know how to import automatically. And so sometimes you don't want to like import Unity Engine's time automatically, so you want to put it in a Unity Engine namespace. See how this says namespace Unity Engine?
Yeah.
I don't want this to be in its own namespace, so I'm gonna put it back. Now I don't need to import it. And now I wonder if I could have just called it time, but whatever. Time container works too. So then I want to be able to set this to time container dot hour. So it doesn't know about hour. Why not? So this property probably is public. Doesn't need a getter setter. How do we do that? C# getter setter syntax. So how do you make a property? So it should look something like this. Try this. Dot hour. I think it's get hour dot get hour. It's not working. Set get. Maybe say get hour. Hour. Unity get property from another. Cat. Okay, so this has got a property on it, right, called audio source. How does it get it? It's a private one. Yeah, we don't want that. Serialized field. It's possible to show a private variable. No, we don't want to do that. It's also possible to make a variable available to other scripts without also showing it in the inspector. That's kind of what we want. Or maybe not. Player health. Set a variable in the inspector. Like this. Audio source player dot play. Okay, fine. Like this player health, player start player. Okay, so player audio source dot play. So should just see it. Why does this not work? I don't think we need to get component. It should just work. Something weird here. Oh, my bad. I'm trying to call it as a static function. So when you use the type instead of the variable name, it's got to be a static function. That's not what I wanted. I wanted time dot hour. There it is. Okay. This is weird. All right. Cool.
Beautiful.
Time dot min. Time dot sec. All right. And so now this still has all these on it, but it's getting the time from here. So I actually changed behavior because I think that the time here is not going to match this time. So let's go to, this is for the door trigger. Let's go back to Unity Editor. I don't want to change behavior. I want it to be the same. So to do this, door trigger. So now it has a time. So I want to create a new one. So to do that, oh, how do I do that here? That's annoying. How do I do that? How do I do that? This is gonna be stupid. If I do a time container like this, 12, 10, 0, and then I added this to this, it's kind of pointless. Where should this live? Where should this time container live? Alright, so if we did this, then door trigger looks simpler. But I really don't like that. I mean, because then we can have a time script that's called like go back to 12:10 or something. But okay, this doesn't really help anything right now. Where it helps is with, where is it? Change time. We could say we can now. Maybe that wouldn't even work. As I say, change time could take a time container. Time container. Time. That change time, and then this should be a new time container. Or really could be public starting. Starting time, great. And then this is the clock. So you have to do the same thing we did earlier, which is on a clock. Again, this is not actually cleaning it up the way I want it to. 7:28 0. Clock text. Why is this not updated? This should have been updated. Doesn't like the code. Why? Starting time, time container, starting time, starting out. Starting time, this takes time. What's wrong with it? Compiler error. No overload for change time. Takes 3 arguments. Change time. Oh yeah, because someone else is calling change time. The trigger. So there we go. Change time now can take just time, which I like. Okay, so this is nice because then this guy doesn't have to know anything about day, minute, or minute, hour, minute, second.
Okay.
Just forwards the time along. So that's nice. What's weird though is that the entity or the component inside of Unity still has to get the time, the new time somewhere, which is kind of weird. So. Okay, so but it makes this file much cleaner because it doesn't have to worry about the 3. And this works. Okay. We'll come back to this. Maybe there's something I'm not thinking about, but it is weird to store the time here. But maybe we won't store these times here. Maybe these will change because remember, there's got to be some game loop where it's like you've gone through the door twice already. So now the door is not going to be hard coded to 728. It's going to change. So this really is going to live somewhere else. Mm-hmm. This is going to be like some kind of global time getter. I don't know. We'll have to move this off to something else. But now we don't need this. We just move this here. So then we go back here. Oops. And we can get rid of on the clock. Get rid of these three. Should be good, right? Nobody cares. So this is a little cleaner now. Just takes that. Okay, so ultimately I didn't change any behavior, I just cleaned up the code, refactored
Yes.
the code. Okay, always thinking about what's the next design, like improvement we can do. Great. Okay, 7:28. I walk to the door. It's 12:10.
Yes.
Okay, every time I walk through it's going to be 12:10, but what we can work on next time we work together is making this dynamic. So it's not 12:10, it's a random time. And I think that refactor I did will actually help us there. Cool.
Oh, yes.
Any questions? Any final thoughts?
I think I just need to start learning more of like the commands and stuff because I'm having trouble like following along with that.
Which parts?
Like with your like public change time and stuff like that. Like I just need to learn more about that. Like how you're using those words. Like how do I say it? Like change starting time or like the THP text or TMP text. Like I don't understand where that comes from. Like and it already is there.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. So these are classes. I don't know why this one has an underscore and it's a little weird, but these are classes. Just like this is a class called clock.
Yeah.
So Unity Engine defined this one called TMP, which stands for Text Mesh Pro. That it's their new library for text,
Okay.
right? Text. It's a text class. It has things like you would think like string for what the actual text is, but it also has things for rendering a string. So if you look at our text, our clock canvas text mesh clock text here, it's this thing.
Okay.
This is the component on this. There's actually a couple components on this. There's a rect transform, which handles the positioning, and then there's shader, which handles how light bounces off of it, and then there's this class, which handles everything that has to do with text, including the font, the actual string that it uses, the sizing, I don't know, everything you can think about text. Wrapping, should it wrap when it gets too long, right? This is all defined somewhere in code. This is defined as a class. Now let's look at a much simpler one. On door, there's a component called time container. This time container is very simple. It has three properties, just like the mesh had properties for font size, font style, all that stuff is defined in code. But for this new class I created called time container, it only has three properties: the hour, the minute, and the second. And so in both cases, there's some code defining what properties it has and functionality.
Okay.
So classes have two things. You can have two things. One is data. This is data, right? And functionality, like logic, I should say. So 1 + 1 is math, logic, but it's logic. For our trigger, when somebody collides with me, move them to the center of the room.
Oh, okay.
That's logic. I define logic and I define some data. Data is a link. So this is a link, like a reference, they call it, to another object called clock. And this is a reference to another object called time. This is a specific instance of time container. So time container can be any hour, minimum, and second. But at this point, I'm saying give me a time container that has data in it. So the default data is zeros. But the one that gets past the door trigger actually is a different instance. It's this instance here that I added with 12:10:0, I believe, with 7:28:0, which is used for the starting time. These are both the same class, but they have different instances, different instance data. They have the same functionality if they had functionality. They don't actually have logic in them. But if they did, it'd be the same logic, but it would be different data. Same thing with a canvas, or the Touch Mesh Pro, sorry. It has data in it saying it's 235237 string, and the positioning and all this data inside of this object, which is multiple components, right? But if I were to create another clock text, a second one of these, this is another instance, and it can have a different thing that says, "Hi, I'm Miguel."
Oh yeah.
This is different data, but in the same class. So they define these tools for us to use, these classes, to represent real things in real life that have data and they do things, logic, right? We'll talk more about object-oriented programming, it's called, in the future, but hopefully things will start to connect the more we do this. I know it's a lot to take in, and I'm going really fast, so. But just keep asking questions, being curious, and playing around with it, and it'll start to make more and more sense as we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so we ended there. Good work today.
Yes.
We'll do more of these. And I'll let you drive more as well. I know I hogged the keyboard today.
Oh, no, please,
but
please no. Please no.
You will, before you know it, you'll be able to do everything I did plus more.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that stuff will be easy to you. It's actually hard for me right now because it's been so long since I've messed with Visual Studio and how it connects to Unity. It's always been tricky. So I'll get faster as well. But I think you saw how we were able to add new functionality with that trigger fairly fast. And yeah. Cool. Well, if anyone watched this, give us feedback. I know I look like a total noob, but that's cool. I'm willing to put myself out there to learn and teach this stuff. So I hope you come back for the next one. This is going to get more and more advanced as we go.
Oh yeah, I bet.
All right, laters.
Rules.
Signing off. Randroid.